Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news. First of all, I will apologise for being late. I do try for the 10 a.m. show to be live at 10 a.m, but I'm sure most people would agree with me when I say that the 5-minute wait will be well worth it when I'm waiting on information that's really important. And if I'd have gone live at 10 o'clock, you wouldn't have got the information I'm going to give you around Frenkie de Jong and Manchester United's transfer business, because I've been making a few calls and speaking to a few people this morning, and I'm indebted to the Twitter account Managing Barca, by the way. I'm going to give you a bit of information that they've given us just very recently about what's going on. So loads to get into today. Double Dutch is the transfer thumb on here, and we've got some insight into why de Jong deal is holding up everything else for Manchester United. That's from a conversation I had this morning. We've also got the latest on Barcelona. It's a massive day today. At 6:30 Spanish time, so 5:30 UK time, Barcelona's board will vote on these economic levers. Now, I know there's Premier League fixtures coming out. I know some people think it's a great idea to react to those Premier League fixtures. I personally think it's more important to delve deep into what's happening in our transfer window, because playing Brighton at home on the opening game of the season means absolutely nothing if we don't get these next few days, hours and weeks right. If we're playing, I don't care who we're playing on the opening game of the season, if we're playing with the same shit we had last year, we need new players into this team. I'm not excited. Couldn't give a toss about the Premier League fixtures, to be honest with you, if we're going to pick the same team as last season. Not interested. So I'm more interested in the here and now than the Premier League fixtures. But we will talk about that in a little bit. Celso says, even Sunshine Gary Neville is upset we're not moving in the transfer market. Yes, he did, Celso, you're right. And thanks for making work bearable, says Craig's Gaming Corner. So where do we start on this? I want to just hit the big news. And this may not be the big news for some of you, but for me, this is the big news today. So I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can understand it. There's a Barcelona meeting today. This is coming via Manager Barca. Sale of 49% of Barca Studios has already been approved by the members. Sale of 25% of television rights and 49% of Barca licensing and merchandising will be voted upon today in this meeting. Other levers, reducing salaries and player departures are being worked upon. So this basically is, and I always say this, you've got to be massively respectful in relation to the situation at Barcelona. If this was Manchester United and other fans of other clubs were sticking their nose in, quite rightly, we'd all be, stay out of this. So we've got to respect for Barcelona. Now, we won't get this right. I'm 100% sure about that. But the situation is that Barcelona could, by tea time tonight, raise 700 million euros. If they raise 700 million euros, then their financial issues are somewhat lessened. Now, that, to some people, may think that, well, we're not going to get Frenkie de Jong. We're not going to get Frenkie de Jong. Now, big shout out to Managing Barca, because I actually replied to one of their tweets just to get some specialist Barcelona fan opinion. And I said, what does this mean for Frenkie de Jong? Because the second thing I'm going to tell you on the show in a minute about why Man United's transfer window is stalled is because of de Jong. So Barcelona have de Jong. So this meeting today for Barcelona, really, if you switch your head on and think about it, this is why our transfer window isn't doing anything. It's basically because of Barcelona. It's not Barcelona's fault, but United are waiting on de Jong, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Basically, we can't afford anybody else until we've got de Jong. So what happens today for Barcelona really is huge. Hi, Mark. Do you think we should go for Calvin Ramsey from Aberdeen? I've heard that he's a very good player, says John. I'd need to know more about him than that. Paran, welcome to Members Club. Hi, Mark. Hope you're well. Had my first son, Rocco, 7 weeks ago. Missed the live shows. Really hope we start making signings soon. Congratulations to Luke, his partner, and also Rocco. Welcome to the world. My concern is we should have a plan B if we can't get desired players, says Greg. Thank you very much for the chat there. And welcome to the Members Club, Chris. You're very welcome. So, going back to that Barcelona thing there, I was speaking to Managing Barca, and I posed the question, if Barcelona raise 700 million today, which they're expected to do, is that the end of the Frenkie de Jong deal? And I was told from Barcelona side that it isn't necessarily so, because there's been people around Barcelona saying that the sale of Frenkie de Jong is a sporting reason and not an economic reason. There are people who say it's an economic reason. So what does that mean? That means they want to sell Frenkie de Jong because they think that it's good for their squad, if it's a sporting reason. If it's a financial reason, it's because they're in debt. And that's the rub. Also, even if they raise a lot of money, they've got a very high wage bill. And Frenkie de Jong's on high wages. So just because Barcelona raise a load of money today doesn't mean it's the end of the Barcelona sale of Frenkie de Jong. It would do if it's because of economic reasons, but there is strong belief strong belief that Frankie de Jong is actually up for sale from Barcelona, regardless of what happens today, because his wages are big, and basically they feel that by selling Frankie de Jong, they can rejuvenate their squad, they can reduce the wage bill and replace it with people like Koundé, Lewandowski, and maybe even a Bernardo Silva. So it doesn't provide us with the clarity I hoped it would, but it certainly is a big day for Barcelona. And the sporting reason, JFRK, would be because they don't want him in the team anymore. The economic reason would be to remove him. So, big day. I'd keep an eye on it. Around 6, 7 o'clock tonight UK time. What Barcelona vote for. But even if they vote to take some of these financial inputs, it doesn't necessarily mean that they won't sell Frankie de Jong. Unfortunately, what it does mean is that this could run and run and run. He's on holiday now. And if Barcelona get the money and they want to sell Frankie de Jong because they want to, make space in their squad and their wage bill, they're not desperate anymore, which means it could run and run for another 2 or 3 weeks. So it doesn't really give us the thing that we want, but it's still a big day in relation to Barcelona. Do you think Harry Maguire stays captain as real life? I mean, I don't depress me. Mate, seriously, I'm fed up with Man United as it is at the moment. I don't want to think about Harry Maguire being the captain because, honestly, he probably still will be the captain and he probably still will start next season and will probably still be shit. That's how I feel about United at the moment. I don't have any reason to be optimistic. If you do, well done. Please tell us why, because I have got... That football club is there to deliver optimism. And at the moment, it's delivering absolutely none. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is why this Frankie de Jong situation is posing Erik ten Hag a transfer dilemma. Now, I spoke to somebody this morning really, really well tapped in. And I was saying, look, I'm really frustrated with Manchester United, what's going on? And they said to me, to be fair, Ten Hag is as much a facilitator as Murta or anybody else at the club. And I was like, well, why? He's the new manager. This club's been doing this for 9 years. And what I was told is that, Ten Hag is just as involved as everybody else. He's causing this just as much as anybody else because he's adamant that we've got to stay in for de Jong because it's worth it. So I was like, well, but why aren't we doing any other business? And the reason we're not doing any other business is because the budget is somewhere between 100 and 125 million quid. And if you spend 70 million pounds on Frankie de Jong, you've got somewhere around 50 million left. That's only enough to buy one more player. Anthony may be just with 50 million left, a centre-back. So you can only make 2 signings if you sign Frankie de Jong. So Manchester United can't go off and do any other business until they know what's happening with Frankie de Jong. Because if they're not signing Frankie de Jong, maybe they can buy 3 players. But if they are signing Frankie de Jong, then it leaves them with 50 million left in the budget, unless they sell players, which is looking very unlikely at the moment. Because Frankie de Jong's going to cost around 70 million quid, leaves you with 50 left to buy basically 1 player. So that is why United are not doing any business, because they are completely... I nearly said something rude at the start on a morning show, but we are completely engrossed in this Frankie de Jong deal. And that is why what's going on at Barcelona is basically dictating our summer transfer window. Because United will not do any other business until they know what's happening with Frankie de Jong. Because Ten Hag has said, that's the player I want. It's worth it staying in and waiting around. And that's why the delay is going on. So Ten Hag's got as much to do with it as the club, to be fair. And I'd never thought of it like that. And I don't know what I think about that. But that's what I was told this morning from somebody very, very good. That, look, yeah, obviously Man United are going to get the blame. Murta, Richard Arnold, the Glazers are going to get the blame. Nobody can argue with that. It's not been a very well-run club for years and years and years. But the reason you're not doing any business isn't because the Glazers or anybody else are saying, let's not do any business. It's because there's only so much of a budget and most of it will go on Frankie de Jong. So you can't go off and buy Anthony or Timber or anybody else until you know what's happening with Frankie de Jong. And at the moment, you haven't got the deal done with Frankie de Jong. So it's a budget restriction again. I mean, you can blame the Glazers because our budget's only 120 million. If it was 200 million, we could just buy Frankie de Jong and be doing other business knowing that we've got 130 million left. But if you're spending 70 million on Frankie de Jong and your budget's 120, you've only got 50 left. And how you spend that 50, well, you're only buying 1 more player, really. So this is the issue. And the message from Erik ten Hag to Manchester United is that that Frankie de Jong's the player that he wants, and we should be hanging around to try and get him. Now, whether we should be trying to buy a marquee signing in a rebuild, that's a conversation for everybody else. Hi, Mark. It's my 21st today, so fingers crossed we get some positive transfer news today. Think we might need all the luck we can get, says Ethan. Thank you very much, and happy birthday, Ethan. Rahul, welcome to the Members Club. And Brad says, nobody should trust these tossers who bought the club on a credit card. They have maxed out. They can't afford to run this club because of the debt, says Brad. I don't want to talk about the financials at Manchester United, but they're getting worse. You know, brands are waking up to the fact that Manchester United is not an attractive club to sponsor. I know we'll always get sponsors, but the values will drop. We're not going to get these multi-100 million pound deals anymore because we're not an attractive club. You know, it's a very toxic club. The fan base is very toxic, generated by the Glazers. We're not a very successful team on the pitch. These share prices can fluctuate, but in the long term, I can see Manchester United becoming more and more of an issue when it comes to branding and marketing, because you can't polish a turd, and at the moment we are a turd. Simple as that. And I think it will get worse. And I think many of us saw this coming. When you bring somebody in who's the owner, whose sole aim is to milk you like a cow, what happens when the milk runs out? If you don't look after the cow, if you don't feed the cow and, you know, keep the cow fit and make it happy, the milk will run out. That's what's happening at United. Barca was seen as a joke like us, but now they've got Lewandowski, Koundé, Kessie, Christensen and more coming in. Imagine the United board did this, says Kazu. Look, a year ago, Barcelona were in a mess. Messi left. They looked like they were finished. I said at the time, they won't be finished. They're Barcelona, the same as Real Madrid. Florentino Perez has been talking actually in the last day, and he's basically defended Barcelona, saying, look, we're the two biggest clubs in the world. When a club like Barcelona falls on hard times, like Real Madrid, you find a way out of it because they're a big football club. We are a big football club, but we're not run by people like that. Real Madrid and Barcelona, their focus is to be the biggest football club in the world. Manchester United's focus under the Glazers is to be the biggest income generated club in the world. And that's a very different tactic, because if you want to be about income, you've got to be about less spending. And if you want to be the biggest club in the world, you've got to spend your way out sometimes. Different mentalities of different football clubs. Coming to Manchester United for the first time from October the 1st to the 12th. All the fixtures at the time are away games. Was really looking forward to watching my first game at Old Trafford, says Ashray. Just go to an away game, mate. The away United support is fantastic. I mean, sometimes it's better than going to a home game. So, yeah, give it a go. Give it a go. Give it a go now. De Jong Timber till the last transfer market day. Finally signed free Cavani, says Jamin. If you've tuned in a little bit late, Dylan says, have you heard any update on Masso? Do you think he will get back into the team? Do you think he could be a big player next year? Masso? Don't know who Masso is, Dylan, unless I'm completely out of bang on the head. I love Frankie de Jong, but I can't stand seeing Spence, Basuma, Hadara Sakaria just getting swooped and many more and no sales, says SK. So, if you've tuned in a little bit late, there's a lot to get through on the show today, but effectively, the reason Manchester United aren't doing any transfers at the moment is because their budget is around 120 million and 70 million of that would go on de Jong. If you've spend 70 million on de Jong, you've got 50 left, which means you've got to make a decision about whether you get a centre-back, a right winger, a forward or a second midfielder. So Manchester United can't do any business at the moment until they know what is happening with de Jong. Because if they don't get de Jong, that's another 70 million available that you might want to spend that 120 in a different way. And this is being led by Ten Hag. Ten Hag is completely on board with United not doing any business if they've still got a chance of getting de Jong. That's the latest from Manchester United and why we're not doing any business. The second stage of that is our transfer business is on hold until we know what's happening with de Jong. Barcelona have a bid meeting today at 6:30. They could generate upwards of 700 million euros. If they generate that money, their financial difficulties are somewhat over. However, that doesn't mean that they will then keep de Jong, because there are still rumours that Barcelona are looking to sell de Jong to release wages on the wage bill and move him on for sporting reasons because they think they can improve the team without him. So it could still run and run and run. But today is quite a symbolic day for Barcelona, and being as the sale of de Jong is holding up Manchester United's transfer business, I almost hope, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial here, not for the first time, but I also hope that if Barcelona get the money today, somebody comes out tonight and says de Jong's not for sale. Because if that happens, we don't waste 3, 4, 5, 6 more weeks trying to get this deal done. We have to get moving quick. I would rather get some finality on this today. Unfortunately, I'm not convinced we will. I think that we'll still be linked to Jong for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I think we'll still waste time on this deal. If we ultimately get him, he's a very good signing, but we can't keep doing this every summer. We were started linked to De Jong 5 weeks ago. Man United cannot keep having deals that take 7-8 weeks. It just can't happen in a summer like this. So I hope we get some finality. I don't necessarily think that we will, but yeah, let's see what happens. Coming to Manchester, I've done that one from Ashray. Right, we've got a few other things I want to talk to you about, but let's just do this because I know a lot of people are interested in this. So let me just show you. Well, it's a That's Football tweet, actually. It should come up on your screen now. So this is the opening day of the season. Thoughts on the opening fixtures of the season. I put it on Twitter earlier. Looking at Man City's fixtures all season, I can't see them losing a game. Looking at United's fixtures, you're like, bloody hell, where are we going to win? But it is a game at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United against Brighton, opening game of the season. And yeah, I mean, look, Brighton are a footballing side under Graham Potter. I suppose that's a positive, that we're going to play a team that's going to come and play football, and we're at home. So, you know, I mean, what do you want me to do? Cartwheels? I can't get excited. I don't care if it's Man City away. It really doesn't matter. Because at the moment, we're putting the same crap players that we had last year out anyway. We've got no new players. So why would I get excited? It's a hypothetical. I even saw somebody tweeting today, how many points do you think we're going to get from our first 5 games? What? I mean, it's like saying, you know, how long do you think you'll last with your dream girl or boy? Like, you're having a fantasy. Like, well, I think I'll last 5 minutes. You know, like, what are you talking about? Like, how can I predict how many points United are going to get next season? We've not bought anybody. Like, even buying one player makes a difference to what I think about next season. But right here, right now, I can only judge. In fact, I'll put them up on the screen for you. In relation to our first 3 games of the season, I mean, by all means, predict how many points we're going to get. But I mean, look, I can only look at that in the way I look at the team last season. So we'll probably Brighton will probably beat us. Brentford will, you never know, we might get something. Liverpool will smash us. Southampton haven't got a bloody clue. Leicester haven't got a clue. Arsenal will be difficult. Crystal Palace will be difficult. I can only look at those fixtures based on the team that we had last year, because that's the team. And in fact, it's a weakened team because we don't have Cavani or Pogba, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, and his ridiculous comments. Mata and Matic. We're actually a weaker team than last year. So I don't know how anybody can look at our fixtures and say, yeah. First, we'll beat Brighton, beat Brentford. Liverpool will take a point. Southampton, we can do them. Leicester, they're shit. Arsenal will get a point there. Palace, they won't be as good as last year. Oh, I can see us getting, how many games have we got? 7? I can see us getting 18 points there. Yeah, no worries, 18 points. I can't see us getting 8 because I can't see any signings coming in. So, at the moment. So, I look at those fixtures and I sort of go, you know, what do you want me to do with those fixtures? I don't know, because we've not changed. We've not done anything. So, yeah, we're playing games in August. I knew that. I mean, look, if we get some new signings in to play the positive card, if we get new signings in, I'd be quite pleased about playing at home against Brighton, because they're a good footballing side, and that would be a more open game, and I think that will suit Ten Hag, rather than, you wouldn't want to be playing, you know, a park the bus team at Old Trafford on the opening game of the season, and playing Liverpool at home. You know what? If we did beat Brighton and we did beat Brentford, 6 points from our first 2, the atmosphere at Old Trafford would be massive, because it's Ten Hag's first game against Liverpool. You never know. If we brought some players in, it might be a decent start to the season. But it's speculation. It's lollipop lane. It's candy floss crowds, isn't it? And it's raining lemonade. We can't predict anything. Where are you at with selling some of our deadwood? Says Joseph. I want to talk about Pogba's comments here, because they're very good. But let me just this is the only thing that's happening at the moment in relation to people leaving the club. And it's Simon Stone just clarifying the story that came out yesterday, that Dean Henderson is in talks with Nottingham Forest about a loan move. It makes you want to throw up. It makes you want to throw up. We're loaning a player that we should be selling to generate funds for our limited transfer budget. I don't even know why Dean Henderson wants to do it. as well. I can't understand it. Hi Mark, De Jong's situation feels like the Sancho saga all over again. A transfer window of back and forth talking between the two clubs. Yeah, it's Slow Sports News, Paul. After missing out on Tchouaméni, I fear Liverpool will go after midfielders who are on United's list too. Now United's remaining targets can be hijacked, says Anabav. Well, I'm not even convinced we're going to get a second midfielder anymore, mate. I think the hope was that we would, but I'm not actually convinced that we're going to go and get a second midfielder now. We haven't even got a first midfielder. I mean, to be honest with you, if you're on holiday at the moment and you're Scott McTominay and you're Fred, you're rubbing your hands together. You're probably WhatsApping each other all the time, laughing, because like from being the summer where we thought it was the end of McFred, at the moment it looks like they've only just started. I mean, Gary Neville, actually. I mean, I don't normally shout Gary Neville out because I think he's out of touch when it comes to what's best for Manchester United. I know he wants what's best for Manchester United, but I think his opinions are, not great at times, especially around the manager and things like that. But he did tweet a couple of hours ago and he said, I know it's early in the window, but I'm not going to do it in the voice. I know it's early in the window, but I've been up for hours. Sunshine, Gary Neville. No. I know early in the window, but it's worrying that United are struggling to get business done. The others seem set and ready, yet United can't get moving. Erik ten Hag needs his group together ASAP to mould them. Bringing them in late will only make it harder for him. Fingers crossed it happens soon. I mean, it's a very obvious statement that I think we all very much agree with. But Dylan, I'm not talking about Mason Greenwood. No, anybody wants to talk about Mason Greenwood, go and find somewhere else to talk about it. Nobody really wants to talk about it. He's on police bail. That's the end of the conversation. Midfield is rightly a priority, but I'm worried about Maguire and Lindelof in a high line because Varane is injury prone and he's not the best on the ball either, says Michael. Look, Varane is an issue because of his injuries. You're absolutely correct. He's the best centre-back we've got. I still think he's one of the best centre-backs in the world, but his injury issues are a problem. Going back to what Gary Neville said there, I agree with him. This is something many of you have said quite consistently, that we need to make signings early because Ten Hag is a new manager. What is the point in Ten Hag going on tour, training players like Andreas Pereira, Brandon Williams, Axel Tuanzebe, Eric Bailly, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, all these players that have been proven not to be good enough over the last year or two? What is the point in Ten Hag spending time drilling them, taking time on them, when he should be doing it with players that are part of our future, i.e. new signings? How many new signings are we taking on tour? Because at the moment, I feel like throwing up every time I think about it. Because all I can see is pictures in Australia of shit players being trained by a new manager, being given yet another chance, and I just see it's a waste of time. A waste of time. This cannot be the future for Manchester United. Erik ten Hag, this exciting manager, training the same shit we had last year. That cannot be the vision. That cannot be the plan. If that's the plan, we're fucked. I'm sorry to swear, but we are. It cannot be, let's bring a really good coach in to coach players that have basically wiped their arse with the shirt last season. Some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. That cannot be the plan. So, where are the new signings? Why are they not going on tour? I will not agree with, well, the transfer window's open till the end of August. New manager, new style of play, completely different. You need the players in now. You need them on tour. We can't be buying 2 players in the middle of August when we've started the season and everyone else has had 6 weeks training with Ten Hag. We've got to get them in. But I'll go back to what I said before. The transfer hold-up is also because of Ten Hag. So we can all say it's not fair on Ten Hag, he's not going to have the players, but he's holding it up himself. He is saying to the club, it's worth hanging around for Frenkie de Jong. And if we get Frenkie de Jong, that's half the budget gone. And there's not a lot left anyway. So we can all blame the Glazers. Let's do that. We can all blame Murta and Arnold and everyone else. Let's do that. But don't lose sight of the fact that Erik ten Hag is telling the club to stay focused on Frenkie de Jong. Fully aware that we can't do any business until we get Frenkie de Jong done. Because if we spend £70 million on Frenkie de Jong, we've only got 50 left. And they've got to make a decision on how they spend that 50 because it's only one more player. I see a situation if we get De Jong where we get De Jong, one other signing and Eriksen. And that'll be our summer. 3 players, one of which is in a position in Eriksen that we don't actually need as a priority. But look, I'm not going to polish a turd myself. I think we are in a mess. And I think But I do, the conversation I had this morning opened my eyes up a bit. Let's not pretend that Erik ten Hag's not telling the club to hang around for Frenkie de Jong, and let's not pretend that Frenkie de Jong is holding up this whole transfer window because it's such a massive amount of our budget going in on him. And let's not pretend that Barcelona's situation is basically holding up the Frenkie de Jong move. So really, we're in the hands of Barcelona, and Man United and Ten Hag are happy to wait. They're happy to watch Spurs buy 3 or 4 players. They're happy for Liverpool and Man City to be doing their business, and they're happy to sit there doing sod all in relation to sales and buys whilst they wait to see what happens with Frenkie de Jong. Because I think from a double way here, I think if Erik ten Hag gets Frenkie de Jong, he thinks that's amazing. That's going to change everything. I think if Man United get Frenkie de Jong, they think that's the marquee signing that's going to make everybody happy. Well, I'll say this. I would be very happy with Frenkie de Jong, but I ain't going to start running around with my top off in the garden like Ricky did when we signed Dan James. I'm not doing that. Because I've watched this team for years. I watched it every minute last season. One player ain't changing that. One player is not changing that. We're way past marquee signings being exciting. We bought Ronaldo last year and everyone knew we were in trouble because we didn't buy a midfielder. So if United think, we finally got Frenkie de Jong done, I mean, people will be excited. I will be excited, but I'm not going to be convinced. Far from it. We need way more than that. Mark, realistically, how much better can Ten Hag make our current squad with better fitness and better coaching? What, to be fair, they didn't get for 6 years, says Deletic Official. Look, there can only be an improvement in Manchester United with Ten Hag because the style of football is better, the coaching will be better. So there will be an improvement, but you're absolutely spot on. I don't think we'll have a season as bad as that ever again, hopefully, but I don't think, I keep repeating this. Why does Pep Guardiola spend so much money on Haaland and Grealish and everybody else? If Pep's the best manager in the world, surely he can just get free transfers from Stoke and turn them into great players. Oh no, you can't do that, because it doesn't matter how good you coach. It still comes down to talent, and talent costs money. That team we've got hasn't got a lot of talent in it. So Ten Hag can get them to do all the little drills he wants. He ain't going to turn them into a title-winning side because we know they're not that good. They're not good enough. They're good enough to get top 4. Maybe that's what the Glazers want. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe that's the conversation that's been had. You can have one big signing and one other player, and ultimately you've got to work with what you've got. And the line is, this team's got a lot of potential. It finished second a year ago. And basically all the Glazers want every year is what Arsenal wanted under Wenger for a decade, 4th place. As long as you get top 4, we're happy with you. You'll stay in a job. And maybe that's all the Glazers want. And maybe we've been conned again. We'll have to wait and see. Ten Hag came with arrogance that he got best out of current team, and Frenkie de Jong, hold on, he also been on thin ice if results won't come, says Jay. Fingerless Freddy, thank you very much. He's just gifted 5 United Stand memberships. Legend, Freddy, thank you very much. And you are all very welcome, says Freddy. There you go, legend of the chat. If you want to become a member, by the way, do click the join button. It's pinned at the top of the chat, or you can click the join button. If you are a member, today's the last day to vote for your exclusive video that comes out tomorrow. Remember, each week we give an exclusive video to our members as voted for by you. You can vote for on the community tab. You get your badge next to your name as well. And we've got some really exciting stuff to come as well in the next few weeks. So looking forward for that, which we can show you as well. Fingerless Freddy's a legend, says Davis. Right, finally, I just want to talk about Paul Pogba's comments. I've kept it purposely back to the end because, to be honest with you, I don't want to give Paul Pogba headlines because Paul Pogba is not a Manchester United player anymore. But I did want to just pick up on a couple of his comments. He's got a documentary coming out. The first thing I want to say is that I don't dislike Paul Pogba. I've always liked Pogba. I think he's a player that when he's playing for France or if he's going to go to Juventus, if they're on the telly, I'll watch it and I won't be like, oh, I hope he fails because he failed at United. I like Pogba. I think he's not fulfilled his talent. Whether he blames United for that or whatever, I think on a personal level, he's not fulfilled his talent. Why are we signing De Jong then? Again, another marquee signing, says Reese. So what has Paul Pogba said? 2 things, really. He's basically come out and said that he wants to show United and the world that they made a mistake by not giving him a contract that he deserved. I've got to first of all say, as much as I like Pogba and as much as I think the Glazers have run this club badly, and I'll never forgive them for letting people like Ander Herrera leave for free, and I think letting Pogba go for free is stupid. The only mistake that Manchester United have made in relation to Pogba was not selling him 3 years ago, so we actually got some money for him. I think Paul Pogba to say that he wants to make United realise they made a mistake by not giving him a new contract after 6 years of inconsistency is a bit steep, especially the money he's earned out of this club. So I don't think there's going to be a point where people see Paul Pogba playing well for Juventus in Serie A and go, oh my God, we've made a mistake. If he was going to Real Madrid, it might be a different story, but Real Madrid don't want him. So, you know, you're going back to Juventus, mate. I don't think you're going to do things for Juventus. I mean, he might start scoring those worldy goals like he did before, but the Italian league's not La Liga, it's not the Premier League, and I don't think United have made a mistake. The mistake they made was not selling you for money. And then the second thing was that there was another clip of him talking about a contract offer from Manchester United with Mino Raiola for $300,000 a week, and he said they're bluffing because that's nothing. And they say nurses have it hard. I mean, I'm surprised Pogba, you know, 300 grand a week, but you're not getting 300 grand a week at Juventus. So again, like, it just comes across to me that he wanted this massive payday out of Manchester United, because I always thought Pogba was leaving United for sporting reasons, because he couldn't win the title. It seems like he's leaving because he's disgusted by the offer that we put on the table, that we didn't give him $500,000 a week or something. Nobody's offered Pogba 400 grand a week other than rumoured United. Like, he's not on, I don't think he's even on 300 grand a week at Juventus. So these big money offers that we all expected haven't happened. And they haven't happened because he's been inconsistent over the last 2 years. So, you know, it does come across, I think it comes across a bit bitter from Pogba. It sounds like, you know, he was disgusted by the 300 grand a week offer. He wants to prove us wrong for letting him go. It sounds like if we'd offered him silly money, he would have signed it. In which case, I'm bloody glad we didn't, because that just stinks of being a bit of a mercenary. So I'm a bit disappointed in Pogba, really. I like Pogba, and I presumed he wanted to leave United because he can't win a league title here, or he can't win a Champions League here. But actually, it comes across like if we'd offered him big money, he probably would have signed. But, you know, ultimately, he's not a United player anymore. I don't have any emotions attached to it. I said, to me, the parting of ways was like an amicable divorce. I don't wish Pogba any bad. I hope he does well at Juventus. I like him as a player. But we don't really need to start throwing stones after the events. Like, it wasn't a great 6 years. There were moments of good. United gave him a very nice sign-off. I mean, the sign-off they gave him on the website was ridiculous. It was War and Peace, what they wrote. But, you know, I don't think United made a mistake letting him go. The only mistake was not getting money for him a few years ago. I see Erik Ten Hag trending in December. Joke Club, says Ray. And how does this non-Champions League season compare in spend, assuming 120 million versus other non-Champions League seasons? Will this be less than previous, says SK. I'm going to research that for the 2 o'clock show. I'm going to research that for the 2 o'clock show. I know that Solskjaer spent 150 million, but as somebody said last night, we did also sell Lukaku, so the net spend was there. His wages at Juventus are not actually that good. Not that good at all. I mean, he could have earned more money at United. So Misbah says it's 150 grand a week at Juventus. Erik Ten Hag had an ally in Rangnick and he didn't want him there. He seems to naively believe he can turn current players around, says Humphrey. And Pogba is trying to spin it that he's worth a massive contract. He's been poor for the whole time at United, says Nayland. Well, but the thing is, nobody else has offered him a big contract, have they? Nobody has offered him a big contract. So Dylan, it's a pay cut to go to Juventus, yeah. Look, fantastic show this morning. I apologise for being a little bit late, but I think it was well worth being a little bit late so that I could give you those 2 bits of information about where we are at the moment. And we will see what happens. I'm back live again at 2 o'clock. Obviously, we've got the 8 o'clock show tonight, by which time we should know what's happened in Barcelona. But I suppose the thing I would say is that all the talk about Antony or Timber or Vitina or any other player, the bottom line is this. Manchester United have a budget of 120 million quid. If they buy De Jong for 70, they've only got 50 left. If they've only got 50 left, how do they spend it? Can they afford Antony? Not if Ajax wants 60. Can they get Timber? Not if Ajax keep him. Can they get Torres? Do they go for another midfielder? United's whole transfer window is on hold because they're waiting to see what happens with Frankie de Jong. Because if Frankie de Jong doesn't come, you've got 120 million and you could probably buy 3 players for that. United aren't doing any business because they're waiting on De Jong. They're not signing De Jong because Barcelona are waiting to see what happens today. And therefore, this could run and run and run. But remember this. Erik Ten Hag's eyes are wide open to this. Ten Hag's not sat there in Ibiza going, can't believe you're not signing players. Ten Hag is saying to Manchester United, I agree. Let's keep doing what we're doing. It's worth it. I want Frankie De Jong. Let's see what happens with De Jong before we do anything else. So Ten Hag is in agreement with what United are doing. And I know it's always fashionable to blame Murta and Arnold and the board, but Ten Hag is on board with this. Like, he is saying, don't pull out of the deal for De Jong until we know what's happening, and then we'll deal with it afterwards. So the club are open-eyed to what they're doing. It's very frustrating, but it's all in on De Jong, and we'll have to wait and see what happens with it. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe. We're only 50 subscribers away from 357,000. So bottom right hand corner to subscribe. Thank you everyone. You need it for your notifications anyway. And don't forget, if you are a member, go to the community tab after here and vote for your members video tomorrow, which you get exclusively. Obviously, you get your badge next to your name as well. Thank you to Freddie for gifting 5 members. I will be gifting some members this afternoon again as well, which we do each week. And thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you